Welcome to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by a fiery coach. It's a new day, a new dawn, no longer a laughing stock. It's time to take command.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. It is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a while, but we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with my guy. You see him over here. South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
What's going on, man? How we doing?
Oh, we're all good. We are all good. Very close to the draft, my friend. Very close to the draft. I'm excited.
Let me tell you something. I'm sure you're experiencing it right as well, but we're back into sunscreen weather. We're back into shorts.
Mm-hmm.
It's high 80s. I'm loving it. This weekend, the sun was shining, and I said, my weather is back. It's warm again. It's hot again. Bring it on, which also means now the draft is coming here. I am happy once again.
No more what, 40 degree in the morning weather?
No, that's annoying. It's very annoying. 65 and above, you can wear shorts all day. That's how I like it.
Oh, my goodness. Perfect golf weather.
It
my
is.
God.
That's right.
Yo, what is going on, people? We see you here. What up, Misador? Where'd you get did you guys get the VHS tape to make it? Look, I gotta alter a couple things in there. As you see, there's a couple members of our team that used to be on there that are no longer there. I will fix that. But yeah, we had to bring that retro in just because it makes us feel at home, and that's the last time we were really relevant.
This is what I give to Misador right here. This is what I give.
There you go. There we go.
But I was watching the video, and you said, there's a youth movement at Washington, and you can keep all the words there, buddy. And even it says led by a fiery coach, you can keep all that.
Keep it. You can keep it. Absolutely.
Yeah. We got some things coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely hyped about it. Hey, welcome to Washington Offseason Update. We are here. We haven't been in here in a while, but, with a lot of moves happened very early, and then things kind of died down. We're kind of getting ready for the draft. And we are super excited. Oh, so appreciate it. Honestly, one of the best I've ever seen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. But yeah, we're coming right to the draft. And look, free agency is almost over. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But we are less than 2 weeks away. Everybody and their mom has projected who our pick is going to be. You and I have some definite thoughts. and for those of you, on a personal note, I got a flat tire, so I was working on my car when we decided to go live. So I'm in my car, but just so we know, my pick from the great state of North Carolina, but we're going to get into that, ladies and gentlemen. we're gonna talk about that. But look, Will, let's talk this draft because it's right around the corner. And before we get into our first question, I gotta say, Will, you and I have been through a number of drafts. We've seen a lot of hype going back to 2012 with RG3, going back, and we can even go back to 92 when we were Super Bowl champions and got the Heisman Trophy winner, Desmond Howard. We've seen a lot of good things, and we've seen us pick up Rod Gardner. And some of these guys were just like, ooh, wait a minute, what, really? That's who you're picking? So, Will, coming into this draft, especially after this free agency, how are you feeling?
Very excited, because I feel like we actually have a real competent front office making these decisions and coaching staff that are going into this. For years, I've been of the impression that I don't want to be in a situation where you have to draft a quarterback. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I just didn't trust the people who were making the decisions. After RG3, after you bring in a Hall of Fame coach in Mike Shanahan, and you have a 1-year success run, and then it all just falls apart there, I was just like, I'm done with Bruce Allen. I'm done with Dan Snyder. And, and the fact that he ignored his coach, the scouts, and he drafted Dwayne Haskins. It was like, I never wanted to be in this situation. Whereas like now we've got an entire front office of coming from a proven football franchise where he's learned from multiple people in New England, Denver, and then San Francisco. We've got, Dan Quinn as head coach, who's had success at other places as both a head coach and as a defensive coordinator. He's added a plethora of experienced coaches as his assistants. I just feel like I can be all in on these guys and say, whoever they select at number 2, I'm riding with you.
Yes. And that confidence is, like you said, we haven't had that in a while, but it does feel good. Because like I was telling Tina on Monday, it's not only that it just feels good just because it's a new group and they just, you have all these different pieces and they seem like, oh yeah, they're saying all the right things. But as soon as free agency started, they made their moves. I mean, they literally did not hold back, and they kind of put out some of the blueprint to the point where now, a month or two ago, I was very concerned with, dude, we got holes at linebacker, we got holes in the secondary, we got depth holes. Now I'm sitting here like, well, shoot, we got the pick of the litter, man. We have made some great moves, and it just is a testament to those guys. So I'm gonna call a quick audible. I know we were gonna talk about the holes, but I don't know if you saw Misadora's question. I think let's go with number 2. Let's go with that number 2 pick. What are our thoughts on the QB prospects after their pro days and team interviews? And basically, and I'm going to give this to you first, Will, basically asking if maybe the pro days and the interviews changed our opinions, or if, it just cemented where we stood.
Right.
So what do you think?
Yeah, well, at number 2, we got to go quarterback. I mean, we are in a situation where we're able to select the next best quarterback in the draft. That is my pick. So I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I've been a fan of Jaden Daniels from the beginning of this. And what you're kind of starting to hear is it seems like the league is trending that way. You're hearing from Adam Schefter, who said, I haven't heard from Washington, but I've heard from the league and other people, scouts, who said, if I was in that spot, I'd be picking Jaden Daniels. I think he brings the highest ceiling, the highest amount of excitement at the position. His speed is very intriguing. Being that Jalen Hurts type offense, and you've got Cliff Kingsbury, who's done it with Kyler Murray. I think there's some things there that mesh really well. But we also have to remember, people were talking about when he was at LSU and it's 2nd down and 18, he could just run for the first down. You're not going to do that in the NFL. You have to win with your arm at quarterback. And yes, you're going to score touchdowns. You're going to get first downs with your legs. You're going to have 1 or 2 of those RG3 electrifying run against the Vikings. He could have a few of those, but majority of his career is going to be throwing the ball. And that's the part where you wonder at LSU, it's so hard to make that translation from college systems to the pros and see can he make the jump. But I think you're hearing from enough people in the league right now that keep saying Jaden Daniels I stay steadfast to say this would be who I would select.
Yeah. And look, I've seen the writing on the wall, like you said. Yes, everybody's calling it. I've started to familiarize myself with the LSU song and neck and everything. I've been starting to kind of get going with it, like, hey, oh. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, outside of Caleb Williams, who people still have somewhat questions about, Jaden Daniels is. I mean, what can you say? Well, I mean, the guy is electric. You know what I mean? He's got the arm for the deep ball. He can definitely maneuver. His mobility is great. My only thing with him and my pick, and let's put it out there, just like I showed you, I'll go back to the hat. North Carolina. With my second pick, Misador, to answer your question, it is Drake May. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to say this. Drake May. Ooh, that's interesting. We'll address that in a second.
Yeah.
For me, Drake May, like you guys all know, diehard Tar Heel fan. I watched every game of his college career. I think he could have stood to be in North Carolina one more year. I think, honestly, Drake May has all of the talent and all of the intangibles to be a great NFL quarterback. I just think he's about a year or so away. Nothing swayed my opinion. I saw him as pro day, but everything I saw at his pro day, he can throw with every arm angle. He can make all the NFL throws. You know, he's got great mindset. He drops in a 60, 70 yard, bomb right in the barrel. All that stuff I knew from beforehand. The team interviews, I knew all that. For me, it was just those little things. Can they translate to the pros? I think he's going to have more of a struggle in the first year. So especially with us not having all of the necessary pieces. Again, we don't know what's going to happen after the draft. For me, I don't know that we could pass up on a Jaden Daniels type. I'm being very honest with you.
Right.
It kills me to say that, because if we are looking long term, I still think Drake May is the smart move. But I do think when we're at number 2, and a lot of us are really kind of seeing the potential of this guy in Jaden Daniels. Look, he can definitely be the answer, and he will allow us, in my opinion, with maybe the lack of having the tenured line, he'll allow us to kind of, if the line breaks down, if they're still trying to work the kinks out, his legs will be able to kind of extend the play and things like that. Now, whether he just relies on those legs and as opposed to, continuing to look downfield, that remains to be seen. But I don't like it personally, but I didn't like it last year. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be, he could be successful with us, and I think it's going to be a smart move to get him.
Well, I say what I did, where like if they decide and they pull a fast one on everybody and they pick Drake May, I'm all in on the pick of Drake May. I think you said it when you talked about the fact that May need a little bit more time. And if you look at our roster right now, we got Marcus Mariota as the backup quarterback, he's listed as QB1 right now going into the draft. I don't want week 1 to have Marcus Mariota going out there, because Drake May needs to sit for a half a season to a year to then take over. There was a question I saw on Twitter. They're like, what if you could do what the Packers did? If you drafted Drake May, you let him sit for a year, and then you've got a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. Would you take that over a bad 2024? It's a great question. It's hard to say no to that, but then you look at how they built this roster, and it's I really don't think they're trying to go into the season with Marcus Mariota as QB1 until that, as the bridge quarterback. I think he really is there to be the backup. I think there's 2 things going against Drake May right now, which is why he has slid behind Jaden Daniels. First, let me talk about the good things. He is a great interview. He's got big time size. He's got a big arm. He can make, like you said, all of the throws. And so he's a very likable person. You hear him talk. He's from Charlotte. He's got that North Carolina accent. He's a good boy. He's a good someone you want to root for. There's some things about he misses some of the bunnies. You said he's got a great arm. He can throw it 70 yards downfield, but sometimes he missed the bunny throws, consistently misses the bunny throws. That probably can be cleaned up. Footwork can probably be cleaned up there, worked on. I think the big concern is the fact that the production that he had last year versus the year before is causing some concern. It's really similar to Sam Howell's career in North Carolina.
Exactly similar. Yep.
Where when he had his receivers and weapons leave for the NFL, he's personally struggled at the position. He also, you got to remember, Drake May's offense coordinator went to Wisconsin, so he was in a different system last year. And so, that's, I think, why, we talked offline before, and how is this falling? I think you're seeing the fact that you've got the Heisman Trophy and all the hype and the ability that Jaden Daniels can come in and most likely week 1 take over and play, whereas Drake May shows signs where he can be a franchise quarterback and he can certainly be your leader. But like you said, it could be he may need some time. And how great would it be for him to go to a team like New England with Jacoby Brissett there, and he has a chance to groom himself in there. Whereas, let's be honest, if we're thinking about the players, Washington the best place for him to come into week 1 of 2024? Maybe it's not.
Well, look, I'm gonna tell you, man. If Jacoby Brissett gets to mold the next 2 great North Carolina quarterbacks, I will be mad that we let all of them go. Okay. Good. I mean, to what you said, that's exactly it. Sam, I mean, we saw what happened. We saw what happened when Sam's draft stock. And the same, and my issue with Drake and everything this year, and I was telling Alex Loosemore about this on the college show, is that since day one, just like this year, as soon as we came in this year, they said Caleb Williams, number 1.
Yeah.
And then they started to say after week 1, Drake May, number 2. Yeah. And for me, in my opinion, that killed a lot of the growth. I think there's some of the things that he did not get to work on because of all the attention and everybody praising him. And then on top of that, he's working a new offense.
Yes,
he's working. He's not under Phil Longo anymore, who, like you said, was at Wisconsin. So that, to me, I'm like, are we not seeing all this? But still, there are things that, and I know our guy Alex with a Y will always tell me, Jaden Daniels didn't lose to winless Virginia, and yeah, Drake did. Drake took that L,
but North Carolina did,
Tech, yeah, true. Our defense struggled, but still, Virginia was winless. Will, come on, man.
Yeah. No, that's bad.
It was a struggle, But look, so. And I like what Store said. He said you pick Drake and you essentially have the playbook for your starter and a different one for your backup, which goes to what he was saying before, because Marcus Mariota is the backup. Right now, he's obviously the number 1. Are we locked in because that's the play style Marcus Mariota has? Like, would it be crazy to get a Drake knowing you have Marcus Mariota, who is most likely your read option dual threat type dude?
I don't think you pick a franchise quarterback based on who your backup is. I think it's a great point of what he's saying about is, and so I think you could question, is Mariota the right backup if you're going to have, a Drake May? Certainly, I think that's kind of what he's talking about, but I don't think you make the decision based on who your backup is. And, they also is for, I would say maybe you kind of go with the idea is we want to keep that starter upright for 18 games. 18 games? Yes. 18 games now? 17 games. Yeah,
well, they're thinking about moving days.
Yeah, I was forgetting how many games we played, but for 17 games, and then we'll address, the long-term backup, later. But, and I think Misador brings up a great point. Do we remember RG3? Is darn right we do. I think the fact that this is where who we have in place gives me a greater sense of confidence that we can make him successful. In the fact that Cliff Kingsbury, had Kyler Murray doing well in Arizona. Kyler Murray was ascending as the next big thing. And then I think he tore his ACL and he's kind of, things kind of went sideways in Arizona. And Cliff Kingsbury before that coached somebody by the name of Patrick Mahomes. That's right. At Texas Tech. And,
Right.
and he also had in his school somebody by the name of Baker Mayfield. So he's had an opportunity to work with some elite quarterbacks, and he's shown in the college level and in the pro level that he's able to make it work. So that gives me a lot of excitement there, or a lot of confidence that they could make this work with the Jaden Daniels. But he's right. That's the difference between the two things is I think Daniels has the higher ceiling and the chance to be this, big time face of the NFL type player, highlight reels, but you also have the flop potential. Whereas Drake May, I think Drake May's worst comparison might be, unless he completely, derails and becomes like a Tim Couch type quarterback, but is going to be a bottom half of the league starter. You can win with him, but is he like kind of almost like a Kirk Cousins might be his that's like
or a
his
Baker Mayfield. You can win with him, but is he that good?
Exactly. But I don't think you're going to see Drake May suck in the pros. That type of stuff. What do you think?
So I want real quick. I want to ask this because he did bring up Rick Meyer, and for those of us that watched NBC Notre Dame in the early '90s, Rick Meyer, Ricky Waters, Jerome Bettis, all those guys were bullet out. And I remember when Rick Meyer came out, they said, and I quote, that he will be the next Joe Montana.
Yes,
and I got on that train, and that he was not the next Billy Montana.
I didn't buy any of it. No, I was never a Rick Meyer fan. I remember that. Yeah, no, I totally remember. Well, but that's the point of that though is there's going to be busts. If we're going, the first 3 picks are going to be quarterbacks, and now we may say in the first 6 picks 4 quarterbacks, because I do want to talk about one other one. They're not all going to hit. Look at just a couple of years ago where we were like, oh my gosh, this quarterback class, and now what? Trevor Lawrence is the only one who's really done something in the league.
Yep.
It's kind of wild. Zach Wilson looks really out of place. Justin Fields is now a backup. Mac Jones is getting replaced. He is a backup now. He's our, I forgot. So that's concerning. Definitely concerning. Trey Lance, it's awful.
Oh yeah. But hey, look, Mr. I think he hit where you were going. McCarthy, who has also kind of been, rumored to be, we've had interest or something. We talked to him and this and that. And look, for all intents and purposes, the guy's a winner. We've seen what he did. I believe in the last 3 years, he's lost maybe a total of 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Because they lost to TCU last year, and then 2 years ago they lost to Georgia, and that might be it. All the way. I'm about to say. So we know about that he has that winning mentality, and with that offense, he didn't pass as much, but he was one of the most efficient quarterbacks. I think he had the best third down percentage of any of the quarterbacks coming out. Look, stats, you can fill up stats, to show your point to any of these guys. But with JJ, I'm very eager to see, is this hype for real? And I want to know your opinion on it, because I like JJ. Obviously, our guy Alex with Alex Loosemore has been shouting his praises all year.
Yeah.
But can that really translate into the NFL, where you don't have one of the top 3 teams, top 3 rosters, and one of the best coaches?
Right. Yeah, JJ McCarthy all of a sudden started jumping up right around the combine, right after the combine. And I'm not too surprised, because if I said that Drake May was a person you like, JJ McCarthy is a person you want your daughter to be introduced to.
Right.
He is that charismatic, and he is such a tremendous interview. And you remember when they lost the year before, and he sat there and just watched the team celebrate, or he sat there and meditated and this guy cares a ton. He's easily likable. He's easily someone that a whole city's going to rally around. The hardest part about this is exactly what you said, is he is the most difficult evaluation because of the offense that he was in, where the offense went through Corum on first down, on second down, and if they really had to, it'd go through Corum on third down.
Right.
But when he was asked to make throws on third down, he was extremely efficient. When he was asked to make throws, he made all of the throws. He's got an arm. The arm is not the problem. It's more about the fact of volume right now, but that's the hardest part to. So I think he can make the jump. I mean, heck, I could even see the NFL. You know me, sometimes I buy into the conspiracy theory saying this is our next Tom Brady. Here we go. Prop him up. This is our next golden boy. And so I certainly think that he, there's something there to JJ McCarthy. It's just when you've got an opportunity to compare him with the other two and all the tape that they've got out there and stuff that you're able to see, I just think it makes him a very difficult evaluation to pick at number 2.
Right. Right. And the other side to this is like I've talked to Alex with Y. I've talked to Alex Stevens about is that we kind of know maybe what offense Cliff Kingsbury wants to run. We know he's done a lot of the read option. His quarterbacks have specialized in having great mobility and a strong arm, but we don't know for sure.
Right.
And if we were to look at the offense we have been running, then you bring in a guy like McCarthy, who is excellent on play action, great, like I said, efficient and on third down. And I mean, one of the reasons why a lot of these quarterbacks fail is because they just get the best. They just get who they think is the best quarterback as opposed to what's the best fit.
Yes.
And that's where I look at a JJ McCarthy and I look at a Jaden Daniels. Like, if we're going to run some read option, if we're going to have, our quarterback kind of being more mobile and kind of using that part of his game, those guys might fit the system more as to where we're not, we don't know. I mean, Drake had a solid run game last year. Marion Hampton had over 1,400 yards, if I'm not mistaken, at running back in UNC. But Drake is clearly more of a, in my opinion, a Kirk Cousins, more of a passer, more of a, let's move the ball up and down the field. So, I mean, it's all about fit. And again, he could work it out. We don't know what they're going to do, but it's just very interesting. And to see him move this high up scares me, to say the least.
Right.
So, yeah, buddy. So, look, that is the quarterback thing, and we knew that was going to take a little bit of time. We're going to take a quick little breather. Shout out our guy, Anton Benson, and his job. And when we come back on the other side, we're going to be looking at some of the holes we need to fill and looking at some potential trade ideas. We got a couple more things for you. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
What? What? Really?
Hey there, ladies and gents. It's your local handyman, Anton Benton, here to help you with your problems. I'm here right now on the job site, taking out whole kitchen cabinets. A little bit more work to do, but if you got a project at your house that you need to get completed, I'm your guy to finish it up for you. Give me a call, let me know what you need to get done.
Your new company, man. Shout out to your new company. Go ahead and tell the world about your new company real quick.
Oh boy. So marketing, Anton Benton Pros.
Yes.
Doing everything from plumbing to electrical to making huge decks to doing closets.
Yes.
Doing it all.
That's what's up, man. I'm super happy
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. Shout out to our guy, Anton Benson, who is a owner of Awesome Artisans. That's awesome_artisans. It's on Instagram. I believe it's on Facebook. Definitely get in touch with the guy. He does great work. He travels. Anything that you need, you call him up, and if he can't get it done for you, he will put you in contact with somebody that potentially can help you out. So definitely shout out our guy, Anton Benson. But look, we are back. You know who it is. My guy over here, Will Kramer, and your boy, Sean Spencer. And we're talking about the draft. We talked quarterbacks, and as we see, it took up about 30 minutes of the conversation. It's that important to us, ladies and gentlemen. But there are other issues that we need now, not so much. And we alluded to this earlier, Will, that there's a number of holes that were filled in free agency already, which makes our job a lot easier when we're looking at the draft, or the team's job a lot easier. Yep. So let's go right here. What holes do you think need to be addressed in the draft, and where would you what do you prioritize?
This is exactly, Nathan said it about offensive linemen. I think he's saying left tackle. You and I both have been talking about the fact that after quarterback, the next biggest, scariest spot or lack of, quality on our roster is our offensive line. They addressed some of that by bringing in Tyler Biadasz and Nick Allegretti. Yeah. But right now our starting left tackle would be Cornelius Lucas. No. I don't want to go in. I don't want to draft Jaden Daniels and start Cornelius Lucas at left tackle. I don't want to draft Jake May and start Cornelius Lucas. I don't want to draft Spencer Rattler and put in Cornelius Lucas at left tackle.
I'm glad you mentioned his name, though.
So we need to address left tackle big time. That needs to be the very next pick that we get. We need to be that traditional that you see on draft day all the time when franchises that are rebuilding go quarterback, left tackle, or vice versa, or they go quarterback and running back, or quarterback, wide receiver. Give that QB a weapon, and that's what we need to do. And I would actually like to see us prioritize this with the very next pick. And my prediction is going to be pay attention, because if there's a run on left tackles during the draft, look for Washington to package some of our second round, third round picks. Yeah. We have 3 third-round picks to move back up into the first round to go get a left tackle if there's someone that they really like. I don't think they're just going to sit back and wait till 36 to make their next pick. If there's a run and they say our starter on day 1 is there, we need to go get him. I think I could see us going back, or I'm hoping I see us go back into the first round and draft a left tackle. What about you?
Well, that's where you and I are on the same page. After getting quarterback early, getting back into that first round, if we can, to potentially get a tackle, or is absolutely paramount. It's necessary. We have to go back and get that, because I'm not going to repeat everything you said, but you were exactly right. Pairing those two would be absolutely huge for us. Now, if there is a run and maybe it goes a little bit before and we can't get back in, or can't get in the first round high enough to kind of get somebody we're looking for, we got Dan Quinn at head coach. I was telling you off in the green room, we got Dan Quinn at head coach. We got Joe Witt Jr. at corner, or at a deep cornerbacks coach, defensive coordinator. And look, we've talked about it. We've seen firsthand how Diggs and Trayvon Diggs and Bland, how they did us. How we've seen their ascension over there from literal no names to top tier, or at least cornerbacks that should be feared. That's where I think we need to go. Last year we got Emmanuel Forbes. That didn't pan out. But one of the things I was telling you before is that it's not hard to see why he didn't pan out. When we had Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, and a high school coach, that were the guys that worked with him. Not only did his confidence get shot, but they didn't. The first thing they should have done is told this man go to the buffet and eat, and just eat all off season so you could come back 28 pounds heavier. They just did not address that. But this year, I really truly feel like if we don't get the tackle, I do think we could pick up a Nate Wiggins, or pick up some corner, one of these corners that is shot up. And I would really love to see what a Joe Witt Jr., what a Dan Quinn does with our secondary, but definitely our corners. Because you called it, Emmanuel Forbes, you were all about him. You picked it, and that's where we went last year. And after hearing him and looking at some of the footage and everything, the weight has always been the issue, but I saw some of the things that you were seeing, his ball skills and how he played the ball, and how he, was able to jump routes and things of that nature. And I think if we were able to pair him with another quality corner and not just a rookie that likes to do his little celebrations. I'm gonna turn the camera on for this. Yeah. If we could actually get a legitimate corner to go along with a lot of the pieces, we got a lot of depth in things in secondary, and so I think if we can get a legit corner in there, if that option's there, I would make that move. O-line is absolutely, how I feel about that as the number one priority outside of quarterback. But if our guy is not there at 2, I think we should, and if we do potentially trade back, I want us to go corner. I want us to lock down those corners because we got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. We got, CeeDee Lamb and potentially Robert Woods?
The Giants?
No, he's not Giants. I don't know who I know they had another guy. But then, I was talking about for Dallas, not Robert Woods. Who's the guy that came from the Texans, from the Cowboys?
Cooks?
T.Y. Hilton. No.
What? T.Y. Hilton? No. I don't know who.
Cooks. Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Cooks. That's who I'm talking about. I don't have my computer next to me. Forgive me. Yeah, but seeing as there's a number of wide receivers, with the exception of the Giants. I don't think Giants have anybody right now.
They don't right now, but they might have, Malik Neighbors.
Exactly. I didn't even think about that. But that's where I want to hit. But where are you going from here? Because for me, the next pick was linebacker, and we don't need that at all now. So where are you going after this?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you're bringing to light the fact that our depth chart at corner is Forbes, it's St. Juice, it's a free agent signing named Michael Davis. Nothing about him with the Chargers.
Nothing. Yeah.
And, we got Quan Martin that can play a little bit of the nickel, but he also may be playing safety. So we need somebody to come in here that can step up and play, that can contribute. I mean, Christian Holmes is the next guy in there, and he can't. I don't know who James Pierre is. He came from the Steelers, and then I know we did get another guy from Dallas, Noah Igbinoghene. I can't remember.
I applaud you for trying.
Yeah. He's a special teams guy. We need someone who can get on the field, and you're right. And so I think corner really is our next fragile position. If it's not at 36, at 40, or it needs to be at the top of the first pick of the third round that we have, that we really do address this, because we need somebody who can play. The next position I'm looking at is, and I didn't think going in that I would really be this high, but is wide receiver.
Yep.
And the only reason it's a step down from corner is the fact that we do have 2 established starters right now in Terry and Jahan. But after that, we've got my guy, newly signed Olamide Zaccheaus, who's a slot guy. We've got Jamison Crowder, who you and I love, but he's older and he's a slot guy. And then we have Special Brown, who hasn't produced in his time to be counted on. So we've got 2 guys out there on our roster of receiver that we really could depend on. And receivers become a much bigger need than I honestly, looking into the offseason, really thought. I figured, maybe 3rd round, maybe 4th round, we go look for somebody. But we really may need to be looking in that 2nd round or that top of the 3rd as to someone who can come in and contribute right away to help us out. Also from the fact that I think he's going to bounce back, but Jahan did not have a good sophomore season.
Yep. Yeah.
And we just lost the other productive receiver in Curtis Samuel. So we have a need at pass catcher.
Yeah. And that's something. Now, we're not going to get the Roma Dunzeys or the Malik Neighbors, you know what I mean,
right,
or any of these real top tier guys, but we definitely need some pieces, some threats, because even more like it, and I 100% agree on Jahan. Just from what we got that first year, we got it was so let down in the second year, and that part just killed me. But then the other side to that is that we're finally kind of getting off our fan horse and coming to the realization that Terry, around the league is not really considered a number one, like a feared number one. Nobody, like I was talking to my buddy the Eagles fan, and he was like, "Yo, I love Terry. I love the guy, but I ain't scared of him. I'm not worried about him for nothing." And he was telling me that he wasn't feeling Slay and Bradbury. So he's saying even with struggling guys that Terry's not somebody that puts in fear. When you look at him on the schedule, we got Terry coming up.
Yeah.
And don't fear him. And Terry normally torch Philly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and we're going to discuss, potentially filling that a little bit later. But for me, this to me is something that we need to have an eye on all throughout. As soon as we get the quarterback, we need to start having an eye on this position because Diami didn't do it for me. I'm done on that bandwagon with him. You got James Crowder, like you said, can be a slot, but let's be honest. His main goal is to be our special teams guy. He's our return guy, and we want him, key for that. And then your guy, Zacchaeus, I mean, you've liked him. I've always seen him. I've seen what he can do. I mean, 1 or 2 years, I've maybe got him on a flyer in fantasy, and maybe he's done a couple things when he had Matt Ryan, right? He played that long ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, he's definitely a piece, but at this point, until I see otherwise, he's a Byron Pringle for me. You know what I mean? It's not somebody that I'm just like, okay, this is the guy I want in mind. So this is definitely a spot for me at wide receiver. And honestly, I'll pair this. I'll just go pass catcher because the wide receiver and tight end. Because if you look at tight end, you got Zach Ertz. Now I don't know about you, Will, but I don't think Zach Ertz is going to play. He's going to play 100% of the snaps in 17 games.
Right.
I mean, do you think? You know what I mean? No. So I think, and we got after that, we got Bates, we got Cole Turner, who we still haven't seen him take off. Rodgers. We need another guy at that position to maybe, if we don't address the wide receiver, maybe we get a playmaker over here that can really learn under an Ertz and play. So, tight end I like as well.
Yeah. No, tight end is a concern of mine, and I fully believe we're going to address it. I don't know if we'd see it happen in the third round or if it's going to be a little later. And part of it is, we do have Rodgers coming back from injury, and they really liked him, but that was the previous coaching staff. So all bets are off now. I kind of start to look into in that third round, looking at a developmental pass rusher. They signed Dorrance Armstrong. He's going to be a 3-down pass rusher. We signed Dante Fowler Jr. to be a 3rd-down specialist, come in there to just basically go after the quarterback. We've got Cleveland Farrell, who's a little bit more of your run stopper. KJ Henry's on the team as a rookie from last year, developmental piece, F.A. Abada. But I think this is where you can go get some type of piece that you can start rotating in to potentially take over as a starter next year, or at least be part of your rotation. So I may put defensive end higher than tight end as a need. But you're absolutely right. Tight end is not a good depth chart for us at all.
Yeah. And Edge is right there behind, right there with me. I don't want to wait too far down the line. I mean, if we don't trade up and we could potentially pick one with one of these top 100 picks that we have, I think that could definitely be beneficial because, like you said, we haven't replaced at least a Montez Sweat. Maybe we could say we've replaced Chase Young just because his production really wasn't that much, but we haven't replaced what Montez has done. So we're going to need to replace those guys. So I definitely like that. And for me, if they went higher with Edge, if they focused on maybe getting that part of the defense set earlier, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Again, it's one of those things, like you said, trusting Peters and Quinn and all those guys that they know what they want and, they're ready for that. But I am glad, like I said before, that we're not even we don't have to worry about linebacker because we got, 3, maybe 4, because Jeremy Chin, what is he on the depth chart? I've heard he's moving to linebacker.
Strong safety. But I think they're going to play him up. Well, so let me ask you this, because going into, February, January, we were talking so much, maybe a little bit of March, we loved North Carolina State's Peyton Wilson. Are we saying right now that linebacker is further down on the needs list, that we're not going that high for, basically Bobby Wagner's replacement?
Well, so, I mean, it really depends on what we would have to, because if we don't have to trade back, you said it, I'm big on NC State linebacker Peyton Wilson. I mean, the guy has speed, the guy has the ability. I love what he brings to the table. I think we need other things more, but if he's there, it's one of those where if he's there and maybe we don't have the linebacker we want, maybe some of those top corners are off the table, I absolutely say we take a flyer on him because of what you said with the Bobby Wagner only being a 1-year deal. That's another reason why I do kind of prioritize tight end a little bit more, because Ertz is also on 1-year deal. So essentially we're hoping that we get a full season from him, but with both of them, but if we don't, who is the next up? Now, at least for Wagner, you got Frankie Lavu, and then, Jeremy Chin if he comes in, and then who is the other linebacker we got?
Lavu, Wagner, Jamin Davis. We signed Anthony Pittman. I don't know who this guy is. And a guy, Michael Walker. I don't know who that guy is. No.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, but it's not as. Oh, with that being said, then we do need a. No, yeah, that's right. Because I had my 4, which would go to another question we have later. My 4 is Jameis on the outside, Bobby and Frank Lavu on the inside, and then maybe a Jeremy Chin on the outside if they bring him down for linebacker if we ran 4. So, so that's why for me, it would be good, but it's one of those where it's like for quarterback, you want the quarterback to sit for a year. Are we going to hit him to have Willis sit for a year and then maybe throw him in rotation? We could do that. And if he's there, I want him. But I see what you're saying, though. What are your thoughts?
I think we're at the point now where someone like a Peyton Wilson's a luxury selection, and we have more priority picks. Yeah. And that's it.
I think that is it. So outside of this, for me, mainly, obviously, O-line. I love my line. So, after we go, hopefully, early and get one, maybe we could see what we can get in the 3rd or the 4th, or maybe we can see what we can get down the line. Maybe we can get a Ricky Stromberg again, something like that, and maybe, things play out where he actually plays and doesn't get hurt.
I want a Zach Zinter.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
See, that's another one, because he's not going to play. He's not going to be able to play this year, correct?
You'd have to have Alex on that. I don't know.
Yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, he's the one who got hurt at the end of the year. I think he tore his ACL in the Ohio State game.
Right.
So we'll see. But to your point, yes, because he's one of those guys that we know the caliber, we know, his pedigree and his hard work. It's just seeing if he's going to come back. We just know we're not going to have him this year. But I love that pick. I love getting him. But it's going to be interesting to see where these guys go, because you and I were doing mock drafts, all through, January, February, March, and who do we see all the time? Connor Beebe. You know what I mean? The guy, the Kansas State guy, and we're like, oh man, he's in the 5th round. And it's like, will he really drop that low?
Right.
So we really don't know, but that O-line is definitely what I want. It's towards the later end of the draft, that O-line and maybe depth on D-line and edge and stuff like that. But that's it for me. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm totally fine with, the second pick that we make really needs to be solidifying at left tackle. But I don't mind if sometime in the 3rd we go back 3rd or 4th and grab another tackle as someone to groom, because, like we've said, Cornelius Lucas he's going on year 3 of being our swing tackle, which is great, but he's in his mid-30s. And Andrew Wiley, obviously, they've decided to leave him out there right tackle, and we'll find out if he's in year 2 on our team of still a problem. And if that's the case, then we need to be getting somebody who can replace him. So I certainly think we still have a depth concern along the offensive line, even if you draft a left tackle with your second pick.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see what direction they kind of go in with it and what they prioritize. Because, like we said, we've seen kind of the direction they've gone in the draft, but maybe they didn't get enough linebackers. Maybe, you know, they want more running backs. Who, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's where they focus their attention. So we really don't know what direction they'll go, with the exception of potential quarterback at one. We know they want quarterback, and then what comes after, hopefully, is line. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. But look, so along with that and going down the line, we talked about a position that we didn't know earlier if we were going to need it, but now after looking at the depth chart, we know we're going to need it. And there's two guys out there that have been tagged by their respective teams, but there have been rumors that maybe teams should take a chance on them. Maybe teams could take a chance on them. So I'm going to ask you, Will, you know, should Washington go after a Tee Higgins from the Bengals or a Brandon Ayiuk from San Francisco?
It's tempting, especially Ayiuk. When Ab pulled up some of his stats, they're pretty strong. Oh, yeah. It's very tempting. I'm going to say no. And the reason why I'm going to say no is they want to get paid, okay? And we have the money to pay them, but that means we're going to have to give up something, you know, some type of draft capital. And that's not where our roster is right now. As exciting as it's going to be to draft a rookie quarterback and reset this franchise, we're honestly not competing for the NFC East next year.
Right.
And going in on that and paying two wide receivers big money like that is, I think, something you do when you're going for it, the way Philadelphia is, the way Dallas was a couple of years ago. When you're going for the Super Bowl, that's your aspirations, legit aspirations. It's one thing to pay two wide receivers, but that's not our roster right now. We're at least a year away, and so I'm going to say no to trading for either of them.
Yeah, I honestly, I have to agree with you. And so the where I thought we should potentially look into it, if we're going Jaden Daniels, was to bring him with his old teammate, Brandon Ayiuk. Honestly, I thought that'd be a good combination, bringing some familiarity. You know, you got somebody in-house. Obviously, it didn't work with Sam Howell and De'Ami Brown, but that's neither here nor there. But to your point, and shout out to Av who told us he's got, I think he had like something like 75 receptions last year, over 1,200 yards. You know, I think like 7-8 touchdowns. And it was just impressive, especially when you think of he's in an offense that features Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's the third in production on that team, and still to have those numbers is very impressive.
Yeah.
With that being said, he's going to want to come to another team and be a number one. He's going to want to be the guy. And same with Tee Higgins. They're going to want to be paid like they're the guy. And first and foremost, with everything that we have done, I don't want to do that. And I don't think they're even leaning towards that, because they have been very, you know, I don't want to say cheap, but kind of frugal. And they've, you know, picked up inexpensive contracts and really kind of still fill the needs and whatnot. So I don't think that's what they're going. But more than that, like I said, I was talking to my buddy today, and one of the things that we were talking about, because Philly had also been interested in him, or rumors were that they were interested. One of the other things that he was saying was neither of these guys are number ones in their current place. In Cincinnati, you got obviously Jamar Chase, who's the number one. And then, like I said, in San Francisco, you got Deebo, and even CMC is ahead of Aiyuk. So when these guys want to come, they're going to want to be the number one focus, get the number one money. But I guess the question is, are they really that? Are they worth a number one from what they apparently? I know these teams are wanting that. Are they worth that?
Right. Well, and the other thing would be, why would they want to consider Washington? Why would you go to Washington when you could go to Buffalo, who needs a wide receiver, and get from Josh Allen? You know, and to your point, why would they come here where if there's already Terry Allen and Terry McLaurin, and they're not the number one or guaranteed to be the number one unless you are a Super Bowl contender? You only give up production opportunities if you know you're going to win. And that's just not where we're at right now. And there's got to be other destinations. Go to the Jets. They're going all in on everything. Like I just said, the Bills just lost both wide receivers that they had last year. So they got something cooking up their sleeves to replace it.
Oh, yeah.
There's other opportunities, other franchises that better suit what they're looking for than ours.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're both on the same page. It's just not. It's not in the cards right now. I mean, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm honestly good with that. I don't think we need a diva in the house. I'm not saying Tee Higgins or Brandon Ayiuk is, but when you get that number one money and you get that potentially that number one title and all that, a little bit of that comes with it. Unless you're Terry McLaurin, but he ain't a diva, but he's also not that dog.
Yeah.
Part of the diva is that dog. So we'll see. Look, so that's kind of where we're standing right now on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, who is this? Wait, Commanders have fans? Oh yes, we do. Absolutely. Let's go.
No, this team has fans.
Oh, hey, there you go. On. Let's go. Hail. Let's go. Yeah, buddy. Yo, so I'm gonna let's see. I feel bad for you. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So with that being said, hey, look, let's roll out. Do you want to real quick your top free agent?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Who is our favorite free agent signing? I think we both kind of like similar to the same guys. So I'm gonna go with Frankie Louvu.
Oh yeah.
I think he was the surprise signing for me. I wasn't surprised that we got Jeremy Chin for a year. I was a little bit surprised Bobby Wagner signed with us, but I also wasn't, just with the DQ connections. But Louvu caught me by surprise. They gave him a 3-year deal. He was just a playmaker in Carolina. And I just feel like, we've been missing that from a linebacker from a lot. And I think, if we were to skip going after a pass rusher, it's because we see stuff in Frankie who can do some of that, with some blitzes and stuff. And so I think they're going to deploy him really well. And I think he's going to make plays and he's going to be really exciting out there. Part of me just starts to envision what we thought LeVar Arrington was going to be from him.
Oh yeah. And so for me,
no, yeah. Look at his next comment.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, how did Chase work out for you? Yeah.
Well, they got a comp pick for Chase.
Yeah. And a Super Bowl sack. This guy. So no, for me, my favorite Austin Eckler. Obviously I'm a running back guy. I know he's maybe just be the third down guy. I fell in love with this guy when he was in I still say San Diego, but he was with the Chargers. This guy is one of those. It makes me think of a better Chris Thompson. Remember we had Chris Thompson?
Loved him.
They were 25, and he was.
Yep.
Even
Fast.
though we stunk, he had those moments. And Eckler kind of is that type of back to me. And to be honest with you, I kind of came into this thinking Tyler Biotish, because having a center is something we have missed for a while. A center that can stay healthy and stay on there. Yeah. But I really think about Austin Eckler for me though. Besides that, he was my fantasy GOAT for years. Is just that I think what he does is he kind of opens up our running game, because he can run. We know he can run between the tackles or outside if he needs to, but he gives us a serious threat in the screen game and outside. A threat that we wished, Antonio Gibson turned into, and we know Brian Robinson really hasn't shown that yet fully. But Austin Eckler, is just a great receiver out of the backfield. He's a matchup mismatch. He's a matchup problem. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. A mismatch. A matchup. Oh God. It's been a long day. But yeah, no. For me, it's definitely Austin Eckler, man. Because I think with that, it goes also to what you were saying with Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, where it's like, he wanted to come here. He must be something that we're building, and anyone come in. Maybe with the injuries, he might not have had as many suitors, but still, last year we don't get an Austin Eckler.
No.
You know what I mean? Or a Tyler Biadasz or a Bobby Wagner, or any of them.
Yeah.
So there is definitely something, and he kind of signifies that for me.
That's a good suggestion. He could be one of those, sleeper free agent signings that we don't expect to have as he has a much bigger impact than we realized. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
And
I like that.
One more, since we did talk about linebackers. Should we pick up Jamin Davis' 5th-year option? I'll start. I'm more intrigued by that now. I'm more receptive to potentially picking that up because of the fact that we have guys now that can teach him more on the field than the coaches potentially did off the field. Now, we already know the coaches are potentially going to be great for him, but then you also have a Bobby Wagner, Frankie Lavu, guys that have played the position, have experience, and have played it well.
Yeah.
It kind of changes my tune a little bit about it, as to where before free agency, I'm like, nah, clean him out, get him out of here. But now that he can work around some guys that could actually maybe free up his game, it might be beneficial for us to keep a guy like this. What do you think?
No nothing way.
I should have known, man.
And I'll give you some numbers as to why.
Yeah.
According to Spot Track, his contract next year will be $14 million.
Ooh.
14 and a half.
No.
Jamin Davis has not earned $14.5 million.
No. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So no chance.
No.
That, and I don't know how much he's going to be suspended this year for his speeding issues that he has.
Oh,
so
right.
Not a chance on extending him. I'm not saying I'm not against bringing him back, but I am not giving him his 5th-year option as a first-round pick and signing him for $14.5 million.
Not at all. And then you start to go back and look at the drafts of Ron Rivera. Chase was a bust and left, and we traded him out. And now he's been in his 3rd team in 3 years, or in 2 years. And then we
passed on Chris Olave.
Yep, could have had him. Could have had Kyle Hamilton.
Yep.
For the Ravens. And then you look at Jamin Davis. He hasn't panned down, and if they let go of him,
could have had Christian Darrisaw instead.
Christian Gonzalez last year.
Yeah.
But again, he got hurt, so we don't know what that.
Joey Porter Jr.
You look at the draft, and you're just like, dude, maybe good riddance. Maybe that's what needs to happen. You need to kind of get all of the people from the past out of there, and just move on completely. Yeah. So, not paying him $14 million. So if that's what picking up his 5th-year option is, then no, I'm not doing.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I tried to be positive for you, Jamin, but I didn't want you in the first place. So there you go.
No, you didn't. You were not happy with the pick.
I was not. My guy, David Collins, baby. Tulsa.
Yes, you were. And what's this? JOK. Looking way ahead. This is going to excite Ab. Andrew Wiley has a cap hit of $10 million, but only a dead cap of $2.5 million. So this season is Andrew Wiley's last season in Washington.
Yep. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, we still have to see where he goes.
Yeah.
Are they going to potentially try to move him in at guard? We know Allegretti has been very vocal about wanting to be the starter or a starting guard potentially.
Yeah.
So we got to see where they're going to do with that. It's a lot of things on there. I'm interested to see where it goes down.
Definitely.
Let's see. All right, man. Hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and let you go. This has been Washington Offseason Update for my guy, South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. You know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer. We will be back with you next week, a day before the draft.
Yep.
I believe Catherine is going to Michigan, actually, if I'm not mistaken, either Michigan or Chicago, to visit friends and family. So I will have all weekend.
There you go. to be celebrating the draft. Oh man, that's
Let's
gonna
go.
work out. Yes.
God,
Yes.
no, let's go. All right. Yo, we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. And I got to end this way because I think it's starting to come true.
That's right. All right, man. Hey, I've been waiting a couple days to say this. We're back. We're back.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Dun, 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 dun.